Tribe Entertainment.
It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king. YAH'S fourth tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king. YAH'S rep YAH with me. It's the dawn of 400 years. 400 years since we shed our first tears. 400 years since my ancestors slain. 400 years since we all knew his name. 400 in this land, Babylon, the bases of many kings. YAH's name is gone. We are the mighty YAH'S. Lions of YAH, praise YAH with me. The righteous, YAH, the holy, YAH, the creator, YAH, the only, YAH, the righteous, YAH, the holy, YAH, the creator, YAH, the only, YAH. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, YAH'S. Yahweh is righteous. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, YAH'S. Yahweh is righteous. It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king. YAH'S, fourth tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king. YAH'S, rep YAH with me. It's the dawn of 400 years. 400 years since you stole our names. 400 years since Willie Lynch made the slave. 400 years and we still remain. 400 years of living with Cain. 400 years and we still a slave. Slaving on the job, slaving on the block, slaving in the jail and in our hearts. We are the mighty YAH'S. Lions of YAH, praise YAH with me. The righteous, YAH, the holy, YAH, the creator, YAH, the only, YAH, the righteous, YAH, the holy, YAH, the creator, YAH, the only, YAH. He is our king, our savior, and our judge, YAH'S. Yahweh is righteous. It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our king. YAH'S, fourth tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our king. YAH'S, rep YAH with me. Oh, you could never be my king. Oh, YAH'S, for tribe ENT. Oh, it's
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty YAH. YAH is righteous, YAH is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, another night, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH Yisrael, of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth, for Yah ordained me to tell you the truth. And this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king. He's our judge. He's our lawgiver. And Yah is our only Savior, and not just of Israel. Yah is the Savior of the world. And I praise the mighty Yah for allowing us to come before you once again with his great, holy, and exalted words. Tonight we will be dealing with the next question. The third question that we dealt with at the 26th Annual Restoration of the Sacred Laws Conference. And actually, I apologize, it is the second question that we dealt with at the conference. And that question is and was, are there specific signs in the scriptures that describe the trouble that Yah's people will experience, and particularly Jacob's trouble? And we hear a lot about Jacob's trouble, and we hear Israelites talking about it and saying what must be done. But what is our people doing collectively to prepare themselves for pending trouble? Undoubtedly, our people really must not believe there's true trouble coming, because you don't see a lot of activity. Anytime true trouble comes, you hear horns, alarms. You see a lot of movement because you see people preparing. They might be, even if it's a hurricane or tornado, you see people putting up wood on the windows so the windows will not break out. They start getting sandbags to make sure flooding don't come into the house. You will see the grocery stores flooded so people can prepare. But the trouble that Yahweh has prophesied that will come to America upon his people, and not just America, and abroad, where, how, when, and what is the preparation for that? Do you hear any noise? Do you see any activities going down? Do you see any barriers being put up? Maybe you don't hear anything and see anything because really the mass majority of our people don't even believe that trouble is coming. How can you believe trouble is coming and then not do anything about the trouble that you said is coming, that you believe is coming, and then you do nothing to prepare for the trouble? Does this make sense at all? Either you believe it or you don't. But trouble is coming, for Yahweh has spoken it. And let's read where this is prophesied. and talked about in the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter. Oftentimes we read it, but maybe we don't believe it because we hadn't even described the type of trouble. And maybe you saying to yourself, well, how can I prepare for something? I don't know the details behind it. And that's fair. That's fair. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. And you don't bring your guns to a crapshoot. You want to be prepared for whatever. And so, let's see if the scriptures actually describe what will befall this land. In the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, this is what it says. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus speaks Yahweh Elohim of Israel, saying, Write you all the words that I have spoken to you in the book. For lo, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Yehudah, says Yahweh. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. And these are the words that Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and concerning Yehudah. For thus says Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask you now, and see whether a man does labor with child. It's saying, ask you now, ask. Is that a man having a baby? No, it's not a man having a baby at all. But it's a man that look like he's having a baby. It's a man that feel like he's having a baby. But it's not that. So rule that out. Why do I see every man with his hands on his loins? Why do I see this type of condition? As a woman in labor, and all faces are turned into paleness. And what is this paleness? This is a question. Why is this situation so? And Yahweh answers the question. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. There's nothing like this particular day that will befall our people. And look what it says. It is even the time of Jacob's blessing. No, it didn't say that at all. It is the time of Jacob's trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. Because Yahweh wants you to even have hope. He wants you not even to fear. Because he's going to save you anyway. But make no mistake about it, this trouble will have you trembling. Will bring fear upon you. And this trouble is the total exact opposite of peace. And watch the 8th verse. Yahweh said he's going to save you out of this trouble. How? For it shall come to pass in that day, says Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off your neck, and will burst your bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Speaking of our captors, our enemies. But they shall serve Yahweh their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. So a lot of things got to happen. First thing got to happen is the trouble. Because there is no saving, there is no deliverance until there's trouble. And we got to go through the trouble first to be delivered, to be saved. And what type of trouble do you think this is? And anytime Yahweh will bring trouble, he talk about 4 different troubles that he would typically bring. But it's 2 that I read that he will bring upon this land. And you'll read about this type of trouble. Even before we leave Jeremiah the 30th chapter, I just want you to, the scripture says, wisdom is the principal thing. But with all thy getting, get understanding. Because the question is this, are there specific signs in the scriptures that describe? The key word is describe the trouble that Yah's people will experience. And sure it is. The Almighty already let us know every man will have his hands on his loins as a woman in labor. But I found the key word, because you don't know if he has his hands on his loins because he was shot. We don't know if he had his hands on his loins because he was somehow poisoned or stabbed, or we don't know why his hands is on his loins. Unless the scriptures teach us and tell us, why would that be so? The scripture says all faces will be turned into paleness. And then when you look up this word paleness, it explains a whole lot. It comes from the Hebrew word yerokon, which means to experience something that bring about great fright or fear. And your face turned to pale. You ever seen something where your face gets so pale as a result of what you experience and seen, the horror? Many of these people describe this type of thing in the military when they see heads blown off and limbs blown off right before their eyes. But the other thing that will have your face turn pale and your hands on your loins is severe drought. In other words, famine, drought, or someone besieging you where you can't eat. But either way, this will come to this country. And let me show you a couple of scriptures. See, anytime, show you this is nothing new at all. And the Almighty requires that which is past. Show you this. Watch this in the book of Deuteronomy 28. Just want you to see this. This is nothing new in this, something that Yahweh oftentimes uses. In the book of Deuteronomy 28, watch what it says. And of course, these are the curses that Yahweh said will befall our people. And I want you to see this one curse in the 22nd verse. And it says, Yahweh shall smite you with a consumption, with a fever, with an inflammation, with an extreme burning, and with the sword, with blasting, and with mildew. This word mildew really is the same word as paleness. In other words, your skin, your face, your countenance will change. And why would it change? It would change as a result of the horror you would experience and the pain and suffering you will go through as a result of not eating. And it says, and they shall pursue you until you perish. Your heaven that is over your head shall be brass, and the earth that is under you shall be iron. In other words, you won't get no relief coming up, nor will you get any relief coming down. The blessings that you despise will be withheld. You also read this in the book of 1 Kings. Turn there. I just want you to see a couple of scriptures on the description of Jacob's trouble. In the book of 1 Kings, the 8th chapter, the 37th verse. Watch what it says. If there is in the land famine, if there is pestilence, blasting, mildew, which is paleness, locusts, or if there's caterpillars, if their enemy besieges them in the land of their cities, whatever plague, whatever sickness there is, and there's going to be a lot of plagues and a lot of sickness, what prayer and supplication soever is made by any man, or by all your people Israel, which shall know every man the plague of his own heart, and spread forth his hand towards this house, then hear you in heaven your dwelling place, and forgive, and do, and give to every man according to his ways, whose heart you know. For you, even you, only know the hearts of the children of men. that they may fear you all the days that they live in the land which you gave to your fathers. In other words, our people knew that this was one of the things that Yahweh would do if we forsook him. And make no mistake about it, we have forsaken our Elohim. It don't take a rocket scientist to know that. This is why the curses today is devouring our people. Watch what it says in the book of Amos. Let us turn there, so you can see the description of Jacob's trouble. In the book of Amos, the 4th chapter. And we're going to start reading the 6th verse. Amos 4 and 6. And I also have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and want of bread in all your places, yet you have not returned unto me, says Yahweh. In other words, Yahweh has blessed our people. And even though he has blessed you, that didn't cause you to return to him. So, guess what he did? 7th verse. And I've withheld the rain from you, when there were yet 3 months to the harvest. And I caused it to rain upon one city, and caused it not to rain upon another city. One piece was rained upon, and the piece whereupon it rained not withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered to one city to drink water, but they were not satisfied. Yet have you not returned unto me, says Yahweh. Even though I brought this adversity to your cities, you still didn't return. 9th verse. I've smitten you with blasting and mildew. That'll go that word again. Paleness. When your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increase, the palmer worm devoured them. Yet you have not returned unto me, says Yahweh. And that's key, because I want you to see, once Yahweh smite us with blasting and mildew, then you can see this is an affront on food, vegetation. And once your food is plagued, you are plagued. And I'm here to tell you, there will be famine in this land. And then you will seek Yahweh. And let's see if it's going to be early enough. Tenth verse. I've sent among you the pestilence after the manner of Egypt. Your young men have I slain with the sword, have taken away your horses. I have made stink of your camps to come out to your nostrils. Yet you not return to me, says Yahweh. I have overthrown some of you as Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And you were as a firebrand plucked out of the burning. Yet you have not returned unto me, says Yahweh. Therefore thus will I do unto you, O Israel. And because I will do this to you, prepare to meet your Elohim, O Israel. For lo, he that forms the mountains, create the wind, declares to man what is his thought, that makes the morning darkness, and treads upon the high place of the earth. Yahweh, the Elohim host, is his name. See, Yahweh is our everything, and he only does these things for you to be able to return unto him. But he done great troubles and brought great troubles upon our people, and they still refuse to return. Ask yourself, and this is a known fact, you don't even know when the trouble is coming, but if it came, every store in the United States of America, every house in the United States of America is 3 days from starvation. In other words, all Yahweh have to do is shut up everything. All they have to do is declare a state of emergency and have a curfew that nobody can go out of their house for no reason. Do you realize that the mass majority of people only had 3 days worth of food? And after 3 days, that's when the trouble will set in. And after a week, that's when you begin to start getting desperate. And you will have some that will trust in the Most High. But you will have the mass majority of the people in their desperate attempts to save their life create chaos even in this land. And there's two things, and even if you're allowed to go to the stores only have 3 days worth of food in it anyway. The mass majority of the food that our people buy is food that is called perishables. The bread will mold. The food will spoil. And many of the foods that they get off the shelf that last a long time is not even fit to eat anyway. So how can you endure a trouble such as that? No wonder all faces will be turned into paleness. Here in the book of Isaiah 51. And yes, a lot of our people, they scared to talk on the internet about these troubles. No, we can't broadcast this. We don't want to broadcast with our enemies. Who you think gonna do this to you? They already know this. They already know who believe this. The mass majority of people think this is just a conspiracy theory anyway. They don't believe it anyway. They're not preparing for this. And your enemies know that. And you're not hiding nothing from them anyway. Because they're going to do what they're going to do irregardless of whether you're prepared or not. So what you hiding for? What you scared to talk about in front of your enemies for? This is the word of Yahweh. This is what Yahweh is going to do. In the book of Isaiah 51, I want you to see this. Because I want you to see what will befall our people in this land. In the book of Isaiah 51. Fourteenth verse. The captive exile, and who is that? Israel, hastens that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am Yahweh your Elohim that divided the sea, whose waves roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. And I'll put my words in your mouth, and I've covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, you are my people. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which have drunk at the hand of Yahweh the cup of his fury. You have drunk the dregs of the cup of trembling, and run them out. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth. Neither is there any that takes her by the hand of all the sons that she has brought up. And watch this 19th verse. These two things have come unto you. Who shall be sorry for you? Desolation and destruction. The famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort you? And yes, famine and sword. And when the famine hits and our people begin to start going to get that food, then there go the sword. You're going to run from famine to sword, or sword to famine. These two things will come to you: desolation and destruction. It says, your sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of Yahweh, the rebuke of your Elohim. Therefore, hear now this: you afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus says Yahweh, and your Elohim that pleased the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of your hand a cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fear. You shall no more drink it again. See, this is the last time. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict you, which have said to your soul, bow down, that we may go over. And you have laid your body as the ground and as the street to them that went over. And this is going to happen. This has happened before. But Yahweh going to show you something different in this famine and with this sword. These are two of the four sore, grievous judgments of Yahweh. And I'm here to tell you, we are in a time of judgment. That's what we've been telling you. And Jacob's trouble is a time of judgment. And it's the judgment that will befall Jacob. In the book of Isaiah 52, watch what it says, the first verse. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come unto you the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake yourself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the bands of your neck, because you think it's talking about a place. No, it's talking about a people. It says, shake yourself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the bands of your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus says Yahweh, you have sold yourselves for nothing, and you shall be redeemed without money. For thus says Yahweh, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to dwell there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what have I here, says Yahweh, that my people are taken away for nothing, and they that rule over them make them to howl, says Yahweh. And my name continually every day is blasphemed, because the mass majority of the people will not trust in Yahweh. Until the pain is unbearable. Then you're going to cry. Then you're going to seek him. But you didn't have to go through the pain. You didn't have to go through the suffering if you sought him early. And our people is still yet with the knowledge and with the fear to seek Yahweh. They're still not doing it. And Yahweh said, these people will make you howl. And Yahweh made it crystal clear what it would take for you to be hidden and for you to be spared in the day of his anger. And Yahweh is returning with his anger. But this famine, this sword, will come to you. It will be seen in this land. You don't believe me? Watch what it says in the book of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter. In the book of Isaiah, 3rd chapter. Watch what it says, 16th verse. Moreover, Yahweh says, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and they are. The daughters of Zion don't even realize how haughty they are. Because being haughty is the new norm. Being virtuous is not. Watch what it says. The daughters of Zion are haughty, walk with stretched forth necks, wanting eyes, walking and missing as they go and making and tinkling with their feet. In other words, they want to be noticed. They want to be heard. They don't want to be in the background. They don't want to be soft-spoken. They don't want to be hidden. They want to be known and they want to be seen. Therefore, Yahweh will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. And Yahweh will uncover their secret parts. Because once people know that, your secret parts, then you know use to them for no more anyway. Because I done seen your secrets and I know your secrets, and now I don't have no use for you. In that day, Yahweh will take away the beauty of your tinkling ornaments about your feet. Their headbands, their round ornaments like the moon, the chain, the bracelets, the veils, the bonnets, the ornaments of the leg, their headbands, the tablets, the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, mantles, cloaks, and the purses, because all these things our people still have. The glasses and the fine linen, the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rope, and instead of well-set hair, baldness, and instead of a rich robe, a girding, a sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. And this is what our sisters are experiencing, but they about to experience it on a whole nother level. But not just them. Watch the 25th verse. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Because famine and sword is coming to this land. And if you escape the famine, you're going to run right into the sword. Jacob's trouble, that's what we're talking about. Where all faces are turned into paleness. And there's only a couple things that can bring about this paleness. One is famine, and the other is death, the sword, blood being spilt in the streets. Also, in the book of Isaiah 14, talking about Jacob's trouble. The 3rd verse. And this is what it says. And we'll start at the first verse. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cling to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. Ain't that good? And they shall take them captives, whom captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. But watch what it says in the third verse. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall give you rest from your sorrow, from your fear, and from the hard bondage wherein you were made to serve. Because this, every generation got to know this. Our people has been in this land for 400 years. You don't think your children is going to know sorrow, fear, and hard bondage? No, yes, they're gonna experience that. They're going to see this. No child born today will be shielded from the sorrow, the fear, and the hard bondage that will befall this land. There is no deliverance without labor. There is no labor without pain. And there is no pain without trouble. And these are the things that Yahweh is letting us know. Look in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. And watch what it says. Thirteenth verse. Or let's start at the 11th verse. Isaiah 13:11. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yahweh hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And did not Yahweh say, seek righteousness, seek meekness, all they that have wrought his judgment? Seek righteousness, seek meekness, that you might be hid in the day of Yahweh's anger, because that's what's returning. Yahweh's fierce anger. You can prepare for hurricanes and tornadoes and fires, but who will prepare for Yahweh? 14th verse. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man takes up. Do y'all understand what that's saying? Well, it tells you what it's saying. It says, they shall every man turn to his own people and flee every one into his own land. And why? Because of the famine, because of the sword that will come to this land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through. Everyone that is joined to them shall fall by the sword. Yes, this is going to happen. Right here in Babylon. Why you think all over the scriptures, such as in the book of Jeremiah 51, turn there so you can see this. Now, this is not talking about our people, but I want you to see the state of affairs that will befall this land. Jeremiah 51. Thus says Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Watch what this wind gonna do. And will send to Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bends, let the archer bend his bow. Against him that lifts himself up in his armor, and spare you not her young men, destroy you utterly all her hosts. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel has not been forsaken, nor Yehudah of his Elohim, of Yahweh of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. And watch this 6th verse, because this is what's going to come to this land. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render to her a recompense. And you're going to see with your own eyes every man fleeing. You're not going to have to flee. But trouble will befall you. And if you try to flee, trouble will befall you. And I'm going to show you why you don't have to flee. But there will be many who will. Also in the book of Jeremiah 50th chapter. Because you're going to see great chaos in this land. Sixth verse. My people, Jeremiah 15:6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them had devoured them. And their adversaries said, we have feared not. We ain't did nothing wrong. Because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. And watch the 8th verse. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans and be as that he goes before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From there she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, says Yahweh. Great trouble is coming to this land. And your children will see the sorrow, the fear, and the hard bondage. As I said before, two things will come to this land: famine and sword. And which one do you want? Do you want to die slowly, or do you want to die quick? And the only other thing you can do, because these things are coming, is that you learn to seek Yahweh. And because you don't have people teaching you, we just read, the shepherds of our people have caused them to go astray. In other words, the shepherds are not teaching you to seek Yahweh, nor are they teaching you how you must seek Yahweh. And Yah said, if you seek him, you will find him. And our people still, to this day, are not seeking Yahweh. Furthermore, another thing, another description of what will befall our people during the time of Jacob's trouble, not just famine, not just the sword, but also in the book of Isaiah 61. Go there. I want you to see this. And watch what it says. The first verse. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh has anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek. And what are these good tidings to the meek? The meek are those who have found and sought humility. Humility. And Yahweh said, the meek shall inherit the earth. He said he will hide the meek, those who seek meekness, and those who seek righteousness. And so these good tidings are what we're preaching today. But it's to the meek. It's not for the haughty and the arrogant and the prideful or the wicked. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. And who are the captives? Those that are in captivity. Letting them know that freedom is near. But so is trouble. And watch this other verse. And the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Because our people, another thing that will come to this land, is our people being put in prison. Yes, you heard of the King Arthur plan and Rex 84. And what's the new term they got now? Martial law. All these things are just plans to round up a bunch of our people to lock them down. And you already see remnants of this today. Look down on the border and see what they're doing to our Mexican brothers, Hispanic brothers. What they send in cages for? Covered up with aluminum foil. For what? Because they crossed the border? And you got to lock them up and put them in cages? What kind of society would do such a thing? You got women and children and men just locked up in cages. Can't move because there's a bunch of them locked up in cages. And you got a lot of people called Border Patrol, police, sheriffs, and whatever position they call themselves and whatever. Some security, that's not security. That look like taskmasters. That look like oppression. But I want you to look and see. Look at your Hispanic and Mexican brothers who being treated like this. So you'll know what's coming to you. You're next. And it's going to be totally different. Because they have people who's pleading their cause. But who will plead yours? It says to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh and the day of the vengeance of our Elohim, to comfort all that mourn. Because there's a great mourning that would take place when you began to see our people rounded up like sheep, encaged like dogs. Also, in the book of Isaiah 42. Famine, sword, and now prison. These things will come to this land. These things will be Jacob's trouble. Watch what it says in Isaiah 42. First verse. Behold, my servant whom I uphold, my elect in whom my soul delights. I put my spirit upon him, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. And our people is not looking for one who Yahweh's servant that Yahweh's soul delights in. Yahweh's servant that he put his spirit upon him. Yahweh's servant that will bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. We're not looking for that. For some reason, we're not looking for the thing that the ancients always look for. Yahweh's righteous servant. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break. Smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto the truth. He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he has set judgment in the earth. And the isles shall wait for his law. Who is this? Should not Israel be seeking this? Looking for this? Praying for this? Hoping for this? Fasting for this? Thus says Elohim Yahweh, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth and that which comes out of it, he that gives breath unto the people upon it and spirit to them that walk therein. I, Yahweh, have called you in righteousness and will hold your hand and will keep you and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. And what are you going to do? Being a covenant of the people, being a light of the Gentiles. 7th verse, watch what it says. To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Because there's many that's got to be locked up. Even though there's many that's already locked up. I am Yahweh. That is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to graven images. And why? Because Israel is his glory. He's going to get his glory through his servant, through his righteous servant. Famine, sword, prison. 18th verse, watch what it says. Hear you deaf, and look you blind that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as Yahweh's servant? Saying many things, they see what's going on, but you observe not. Opening the ears, but he hears not. Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. And that's what's going on today. But your eyes have to be open. Your ears. You got to hear. They're open, but are you hearing what's going on? You don't see the law being magnified and made honorable right before you? But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hidden in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivers. Like they pleading the cause of our Hispanic brothers and our Mexican brothers, nobody will plead your cause. None delivers for a spoil. And none says, restore. Nobody. Who among you will give ear to this? Who's going to listen to this? Who actually hear this? Where's your shepherds who will talk about this thing? Who will listen and hear for the time to come? Because that's when it's going to matter. When the fan hits. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Who did this? Did not Yahweh, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. And we come before you every day to bring you this law. Every day to magnify the law and make it honorable. But who will give ear to this? Therefore, he has poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle. And it has set him on fire round about. Yet he knew it not. And it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart. And these things will happen, and you still won't even recognize it. You still won't realize it until it's too late. And what did Yahweh say about when it's too late? Let me show you, so you can see for yourself what you should have been doing, what we've been telling you you must do, what we've been teaching you you must do, what we've been bringing to you, but you refuse to hearken. And this is what it says in the book of Proverbs, the 1st chapter, the 22nd verse. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning. And my goodness, among our people are great scorners. And fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and you refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and would have none of my reproof. And watch the 26th verse. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear comes. And it's going to come. The things that we bring into you now will happen. When your fear comes as desolation, and your destruction comes as a whirlwind. Because Yahweh said there's two things coming to you. Desolation and destruction. famine, and sword. These things are coming. When distress and anguish comes upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me earnestly, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge. And what knowledge did they hate? They hated when we came to them early to let them know to seek Yahweh, that he might be found. For they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahweh. And what is the fear of Yahweh? It's not that wisdom. And didn't the scriptures teach us the wisdom is a house built by foolishness? It is plucked down. 30th verse. They were none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat up the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Because right now, the only people prospering today are fools. But their day is coming real soon. And the fools think they're getting away with everything, but they are not. And watch the 33rd verse. But whoever listens to me shall dwell safely and shall be quiet from fear of evil. And to listen to Yahweh, you must listen to his servant. For Yahweh said he will do nothing but what he first revealed unto his servants, the prophets. And this is something our people don't want to do. They don't want to listen to Yahweh, righteous servant. They don't want to listen to one that Yahweh has brought up, rose up, and put his word in his mouth that you might know the truth. No. What our people want to do is what Yahweh says you should not do. And you'll read this in the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. And this is what it says. The 5th verse. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And watch this part. And lean not unto your own understanding. And this is what our people don't want to do. They don't want to trust Yahweh with all their heart. They will rather lean to their own understanding. Watch what it says. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. This is what you got to learn. This is what you got to do. And the only way you're going to learn this, the only way you're going to do this, is that you learn to listen Open up your ears and hear. Open up your eyes and see what Yahweh is doing and saying through his servant. This is how you're going to know this. There is no other way to get this but through his servant, whom his soul delights in. Jacob's trouble. Sure, and yes, there are specific signs in the scriptures that describe this trouble. And what is it? Famine, sword, and prison. Which one do you want? Which one is coming for you? Which one would you rather have? And if you don't want none of them, and the only thing that can save you is action, and you don't want none of those things, seek Yahweh. That's what you must do. So until tomorrow, and we're going to go to our third question of the conference. Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Only through you, Yah, I will wait to see another day. And only through you, Yah, I will kneel on my knees to pray. And only through you, Yah, I will receive a blessing. Only through you, Yah, I will praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. I can see the many blessings you've bestowed on me. On me, on me. I can see the everlasting light that you have shined on me. Shine on me. Righteous and true. You are so heavenly. You are the King of my heart, and I love you all so much, Almighty. Only through you, Yah, I will wait to see another day. And only through you, Yah, I will kneel on my knees to pray. I will receive a blessing. Only through you, Yah, I will praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. I can see the many blessings my knees to pray.